I'd like to call to order the Dauphin County Board of Commissioners Workshop Legislative Meeting for Wednesday, August 27th. We'll begin with a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. We'll begin our meeting with public participation on agenda items only. We have a 3-minute cap for public participation, and we are being live streamed. Is there anyone wanting to provide public comment on agenda items only? Seeing none, we'll move on to approval of the minutes for workshop and legislative minutes. Do I have a motion? August 6th and August 3rd.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Priest. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Hartwick. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of minutes for August 13th Salary Board meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Controller Bateman. Do I have a second? Seconded by Commissioner Hartwick. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Executive sessions held between meetings. Mr. Haggerty.
On Tuesday, August 26th, an executive session was held to obtain the advice of legal counsel regarding the county's healthcare RFP. Faye Fisher and Darla Mathis from our HR department, as well as Justin Leader and Marissa Murray from Benefits DNA were additionally present.
Any questions of Mr. Haggerty? Hearing none, we'll move on to directors and guests. We got quite a few in the house with us today. We're excited to highlight some amazing things that have been happening in Dauphin County. We'll begin by the Dauphin County concert series update from Frank and Dave, Frank Schofield and David Nawalski. Come on up. I was at all the DC Live this summer, and I thought they were amazing shows, and I'm looking forward to this concert series recap update and hear about how it went.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm Frank Schofield, and this is my partner, David Nawalski. Oh, thank you very much. Copy. And we're excited to talk about what we did this summer. As we last spoke, we had these concerts at Riverfront Park, and we had several shows down there. And we put together a little recap package, and any questions and that we can answer, our strengths, our weaknesses, and what we can do better, and our outlook, I think is important to go over here for everyone. We had 3 shows down at Riverfront Park, and we started off with it was important for us that we do different genres, and we had a country show, we had an all indie show, and then we had a reggae festival as well. We started out with Russell Dickerson, which is a very popular country act, and then we also did the Head and the Heart, an all indie act, and then a reggae festival, which was the Marley Brothers, which was very popular. We also assisted with the Pride Festival as well when they needed some assistance, and then we also helped out with the Cultural Festival as they needed also. We volunteered some of our dressing rooms as they were in need to help out. We felt that was very important. To go through the rest of the stuff, we had very good attendance. Our load-in was very simple. After doing this for several years, our model and our plan was kind of spot on, and we kind of knew what we were doing, our challenges with the park, how to work it, how to get everything in and out. Dave kind of put together a nice little recap here of everything, and I'll kind of turn it over to him so he can talk about kind of the statistics and the demographics of everything that we kind of brought in. We're very proud of what we did and our efforts here.
So, one of the things is when you get some funds from tourism, you want to show some accountability for and delivery on those actions. And as you can see, 75% of our ticket holders came from outside Dauphin County. We know what that means, right? That means we're driving economic impact to the restaurants, the bars, to parking, to hotels, and that was very powerful. In addition to that, have you ever seen a statistic like that? That 46 of 50 states people traveled to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, including 4 folks from Hawaii to come to our concerts. I think that we need to get the people from Alaska, Wyoming, South Dakota, Nebraska. I mean, maybe Nebraska doesn't like us because, our Penn State allegiance, and now that they're part of the Big Ten. But, it's just something that when you produce this, you want to see those stats. You want to see that that it's not just people from Dauphin County. These are tourism dollars strictly allocated. So you want to see that that's working. Clearly, it is. And then you use you can click on the next. So when you look at the economic impact and you know, visit Hershey Harrisburg, Penn State Harrisburg, national organization. Or National Independent Venue Association, they all do the economic impact studies using different models. We use the in-plan model that the Farm Show and Penn State did, excuse me, to show their methodology, which really just shows direct economic impact based on attendance and fan spend. And then there's the multiplier effect beyond that. But if you can see, it's on the low end. It was in pure direct economic impact, $1.25 to $1.5 million of direct economic impact to Dauphin County. And then there's the trickle effect, right? That goes well beyond that, not just inside the venue, but outside the venue. And that usually doubles to triples that number. So, between $3 million and $3.5 million of was generated just by the concert series. And as we look forward, we did 3 shows. We partnered with 2 community organizations to help them along. And we just wanted to say that our vision for the future is is there a path for us to, leave the stage up in Riverfront Park from after Mayfly season until the end of September. And do 8 to 12 concerts, and then also working with local community events and finding these co-op opportunities where they can use our infrastructure and we can reduce costs for the county, for the city, for the state in helping them host these events and really create infrastructure to reduce costs, reduce impact on the community by having one build and keeping it up for the entire, from basically mid-July on.
And there's a lot of benefit to us as we built it this year that I realized in the past of what we did, that with Dave's buying power and the Mid-State Show's buying power, we were really able to get a stage at a great price. We were able to really maneuver a lot of our fundamentals and operating costs and really, really drill those down to where they should be, at the industry standard level. Where before we were just kind of putting it up, making it happen, doing this. This group that I'm with now, has really just drilled down the numbers so that it's very efficient, very streamlined. And that's where we can benefit a lot of the other groups that, as the main production company, we're able to house a lot of things and do things very efficiently production-wise. So no matter who would actually host the show or do whatever, we're able to really put the stage up efficiently, bring it in at a good cost, and then also do a lot of the other things, whether it be trailers or any of the other things, and including buying acts. That's very efficient at this level with Dave.
So, and just, go to the next slide, please, is that, and just using the same metrics, that's what, that's the direct economic impact and the direct economic impact, raising it from, 1.25, to 1.5 indirect, all the way to 4.5 to 7.5, if, depending on the number of events that we were able to produce. And, everyone's, Harrisburg needs to be a cultural epicenter, and Dauphin County needs to be part of that. And we know that, there's a lot of people talk about things that will help Harrisburg. Tourism will. Driving concert, getting people to come to the city, experience the beautiful waterfront, eat in the restaurants, stay overnight, have a great time, and it creates a trickle value that removes any images and creates positive memories. And we want people to walk away from Riverfront, with that post-show glow that makes them think fondly of the city, that makes them maybe want to come back and buy a house or start a business, and it can all start from that moment that they spend with their favorite artists, watching them, and the goosebumps that they get when that happens, and yes, that is esoteric statement, but at the end of the day, it results in pure economic impact. And that's just something that I wanted to share, that could be the vision for the future there. And that's really it. Just wanted to thank, you guys, as well as, the city and everyone who supported us along the riverfront. This was just the start. We had, 4 very safe and great events that drove a lot of traffic to the city, and we just look forward to the future.
We have put a request in for a semi-permanent stage down there, and we're just waiting to see how that pans out. And this is kind of our outlook and our future.
Yeah. First of all, I thought I attended the show with the Marley Brothers.
Yeah.
Harrisburg and this region has faced some real challenges over the past years, some significant losses of community figures, some real difficult family-related issues, and the idea of one bright spot, I think, that I can look back to this summer is that we also deserve nice things. Like this idea that Reservoir Park had a free concert with Music Soul Child, that we had a cultural festival that was better attended with networking and community impact beyond anything that I remember in our recent history. And we all felt a part of something that was about respect, love, engagement, and connecting people and meeting people where they're at.
Yeah.
And I think, the idea that Harrisburg will respond and Dauphin County will respond when those things are offered. This idea of, I didn't see a whole lot of news coverage, I know in your events, but all of the other events, this is the kind of love and things that bring communities together. Music is an international language. It speaks to us in ways that we can be brought together. And quite frankly, we need more love. We need more opportunities. We need more opportunities for, as you stated, a cultural epicenter for this region and for the area. I'm particularly interested in one piece that you talked about, which was, I'm always very, very intrigued by the economies of scale and the ability to help smaller organizations and purpose-filled organizations with other missions to continue. I see Brian, prolific in the front row. I know we've got some gems and artists that are out here in the community. For us to be able to figure out a way to get some economies of scale through this kind of investment, I think is a spin-off benefit. Instead of competing, we should figure out a way that we should come together around reducing costs,
Right.
reducing exposure, and figuring out how not folks are worried about credit or elbows, but how can we bring the best opportunities to this community in the most efficient ways. And I really want to follow up on the part of the conversation that discusses how that could be possible, both with the city, because they're the ones who are ultimately responsible for making the decision on whether there's a stage there, and then how can we spread the love throughout sort of the region, because all of that is critical to having that kind of significant investment and seeing, which we know is a much needed spinoff for business in downtown Harrisburg, and changing an image that is just about sort of public safety concerns versus when we show up, we would show respect. Everybody provides a level of love, and the impact is incredible for this community because it shows up. And this summer, Harrisburg and the surrounding region showed up like never before. So I think if we can figure out a way to keep a cooperative vibe, a way that we can keep costs down, and a way that we can sort of share in those great opportunities and good things that our residents deserve, I'm certainly interested in figuring out a way to be a part of that planning process.
Thank you. And I was just sharing some pictures. It's, we know music is the universal language of love and connection, right? But what we've already shown proof of concept, and we've partnered with Harrisburg Pride to help them produce their concert. If they would have done it on their own, it would have cost them tens of thousands of dollars more. We were able to use our dressing room infrastructure and leave it up for the cultural festival, saving them thousands of dollars. Everybody knows one build, and you share it, you're going to reduce costs. And this is what I do every day. I get the best prices, and I want to extend that to community partners that are looking to save costs.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Yep.
Frank, I was glad to have supported this event from day one, and you're good at what you do. The thing that interests me the most out of this was the economic impact, as you and I have discussed in past years. And I had conversations with our Community and Economic Development Director, George Connor, who's in the back of the room right now. Talked about the impact that these shows had on the local economy, heads on beds for tourism dollars, and this is one of those areas where you've shown that the shows are bringing people in, and that's a concept that I will fully support and put my arms around in the future. So thank you. Great work as always, and you have a new teammate now who has extended the level of professionalism that you provide to us here in Central Pennsylvania. So thank you very much.
Thank you for your support. Very proud to be with Dave. Thank you.
I just want to say I thought they were all amazing shows. And I also thought you heard even when I supported this initially, one of the things I was concerned about was one genre and not having diverse genres.
Like
and
in
I
the
thought
past,
going
correct.
after the Marley Brothers really was a great impact, and it was one of the more well attended concerts of the three. Right? Was it?
It was the
highest-
most well
it was the
attended
most well-attended.
of all three.
Yeah. And so I mean, it was amazing to be there and see that crowd. And I think I look forward to supporting something like 10 to 15 shows. That sounds amazing. Hopefully that stage can be up. I think like the cost sharing that Commissioner Hartwick speaks of, obviously the economic impact that's a value to all three of us. And I think the potential to even continue to highlight the diversity that exists here locally, but also that draws people from diverse perspectives to our region that through music, I think is a great opportunity for us to just explore music that connects people from all different places. And so I look forward to continuing to support and let us know what we can do to be supportive even beyond a future tourism grant. If there's ways we can be supportive, please let us know. Thank you for this update.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Next up, we have a community art project from King Prolific, Brian Hickman. Hey, Brian, how are you? Commissioner Harwick, I believe.
Yeah,
You're aware of this.
obviously honored that you joined us today. I don't know if all of you know Brian King Prolific Hickman, but he's somebody who's got national and sort of renowned skills, and sometimes we overlook the great gems that are in our own midst. And I know Brian has been featured all over the country, including art displays in Harlem, and you named some of the cities. I know you've been called on to provide both your artistic presence and your business sense to be able to bring art, culture, and that together. And this year, I also want to recognize two of our county employees who were directly involved with drugs and alcohol. I know it was Samantha Richcrick and Miwan Ahmed. I know Miwan designed she has some artistic skills as well. She's the one who did the design for the Cultural Festival t-shirts and assisted in providing a lot of guidance related to how we put together the children's portion. I also want to thank the directors and members of Children, Youth, and all of our cultural celebration committee who was a part of putting together an incredible event. But as a part of that this year, it was a unique presence by Brian that really was a cultivating centerpiece of the children's activities. And one of the big pieces to Cultural Fest, unlike just a conference, we're trying to connect people, meet them where they're at, and be able to deliver services in an unassuming, private way where people might need help, but they don't want to come into the county to try to talk to them about building connections. In this way, being able to have conversations about issues that are existing, mental health, drug and alcohol, and other ways to be able to connect people is done through relationships and conversation. And in this case, Brian came up with this idea of having all of the kids do a giant art display and having that a piece of what the actual cultural festival is going to be about, hopefully, in the future. And I know you have videos. I know you've provided a lot of updates on social media, but if you could sort of take us from the concept that you had to sort of how that day went and the pride you feel in what you see over there.
Oh man, thank you. I want to first and foremost extend gratitude to the offices of
the commissioners and also the officers of drug and alcohol services for being able to procure all the materials to make this necessary, and the support throughout, especially with Samantha being my point of contact throughout this. It was very nice. It was, just a process in which all I had to do was just state what I needed, and all of those materials were there. Um, also, I've had the unique privilege of being involved with community. I think that's the reason I am a professional of the visual arts to begin with. I, my artistry started at an early age, and it was only able to be a skill that was incubated through having a unique support system around me, not just family, but friends. Who would constantly acknowledge the quality of my ability to express myself. And that's what liberated me to continue doing so. Um, so I felt like a project like this was very symbolic, even in its practicality, because it allowed for me to discover that same type of spark that can be ignited when you embrace people with a level of enthusiasm that allows them to approach productivity from a space of, affirmation, and inspires them to be active without fear of judgment. I know a lot of our society today places value on people's ability to create a sense of output. And so, although that's led to a lot of advancements in, numerous fields, it also discourages a lot of people who don't have access to the means to produce. So, creating things that allow them to do such of a thing, it has an individual spark, but with a project like this, it's symbolic of community and how like that individual spark can allow someone to produce for the simple means of liberating themselves, but contributing to something that's bigger than themselves. And I think that's what community is a representative of community. So this experience was definitely a beautiful thing to be a part of. Just passing that brush to children and adults alike. You could see that enthusiasm on their faces as they would approach the canvas, and not having any necessary guidelines other than to just be expressive. I chose a butterfly with flowers inside the wings. It's very symbolic of growth and just ascension in that regard. So it tied the piece together, and I initially sketched on the canvas, and I knew with a lot of children with their hyperactive nature, is like, the guidelines are bound to be crossed at some point. But having me there as someone who could bring it back together and make sense of all this chaos that was going on, it was beautiful chaos. And so just being able to provide that sense of security, it created an environment for them to be expressive without having too many, guidelines placed on them. So, it was a controlled environment that meant a lot for everyone involved. And I did put together a video, during the process, and just to, have so many kids, just like at one point, I didn't even need to say anything. They were just grabbing brushes and going to town. They were mixing paint together and making colors that I didn't even bring to the table that day.
You made it so beautiful.
I'm like, I've never seen that color before, but but yeah. So I'll play that video, and it's just a piece of what we were able to create. But you'll see over here that it definitely turned out to be something beautiful in the end.
years since my father died, but I still cry like that morning. He ain't like when I would cry, so I held in my feelings to show him I die. Oh, you had a lot to do.
That's good.
Thank you.
I know we are all grateful for your inspiration. Matching the ability to express yourself through all of these various mediums, particularly art, is a gift from God. And truthfully, seeing you articulate in the way that you just did, the both the impact and the ways that you've been mentored and moved forward based upon the skill set that you God's given you for art, and trying to figure out a way to both communicate that and show it for others who may be aspiring and looking for an out. Because if I didn't have my writing skills, Floyd knows the story. If I didn't have my writing skills as a young boy, I'd have been in a whole lot more trouble. And the idea of being able to express yourself and then both articulate yourself is a rare skill. I just want to tell you how proud I am of you, man.
Oh, thank you.
You are a true gem.
Thank
hear
you.
me?
Appreciate
Yep.
it.
There may be other comments from the commissioners, so if you could hang. Yep.
Brian, I just want to congratulate you. That's a pretty incredible thing that you accomplished again on behalf of the community. So we appreciate all that you have done and are doing and will continue to do for the residents and the children. I want to also give a special shout out to Commissioner Hartwick. As we have this cultural event each year, I do go back to over 20 years ago when he brought this idea up. I wasn't a commissioner at the time, but I remember it was bannered around the county and put together a team that I think you're going to want to mention the individuals. You can do it better than me, but I know that Faye Fisher and George Connor, Ruby Dowd, and Edgar Cohen, I'm sure you'll mention others that have been part of this for many, many years and put this show on for the county, Larry Moore and others. It's something where thousands of people show up, and there's a lot of good vibe out there throughout the community and central Pennsylvania. And Commissioner Hartwick, this is something that you started. This was your baby, and to see it grow to what it's become today is pretty impressive. So thank you very much.
That's amazing. What a cool opportunity to bring a bunch of people together and to have such a opportunity for everyone to express themselves in that way, no matter what your age or ability, to be able to come together. How many artists do you think took place? I'm going to call them all artists.
Man,
Over 100?
Yeah, over the span of a few hours, had to been over 60 people
Wow.
involved.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
That's so cool. So cool. Well, thank you for guiding that project, your
you.
artistic leadership in this case, and bringing community together in that way. I think it represents you as like the unifier of
Yeah.
all these individuals, and it's very cool that this took place at Cultural Fest as well. Like I think we're incredibly proud of that event and all the people that make it happen, but certainly this art that comes from it being significant in that you represented the community in the way you did, and then the community came and contributed to it. So thank you for your leadership in that way. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.
Question is, we've had some debate, and I'd like to figure out what ideas are. Where should we display the art? I think the idea of putting, we talked about recognition, inspiration. It'd be great to figure out the best possible place to be able to display this, to give kids affirmation. Hey, I helped make that. I was a part of this art thing. So hopefully, I'd love to be able to at least place it outside at some level in our art area, but maybe having a little bit of a larger debate and discussion with the commissioners and maybe Brian about areas that would be appropriate to be able to provide the same kind of inspiration for the next line of artists. So
Thank you.
we've got to have it, and any suggestions are welcome.
Okay.
Yep.
I also wanted to thank Miss Ruby Dow. She tossed my name in the mix when she's been like a constant space of advocacy for me. So whenever there's anything with the word art in it, she came prolific.
and don't slip on Ruby's art skills.
Oh no, I think
Right?
she has a
don't
gallery.
sleep on Ruby's art skills.
Absolutely.
She has skills in that area too.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Should we get a picture together with it?
Oh, yeah.
I think we should get a picture with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, and lastly, for our directors and guests, I'd like to welcome up Floyd Stokes and Abriana. Abriana, I don't want to try to pronounce your last name. You might need to help me on this one. Is it
Washiga.
Quashiga? Okay, great. Well,
I helped out.
Abriana, thank you so much for being here, Floyd. Obviously, I think all of the commissioners took part in the summer writers and illustrators camp that you led, and we've seen the impact and the value that it has, and we're excited to kind of get a recap of it and share it with the broader community and talk about what's happening right here that's having an impact on students here in Dauphin County. So take it away.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Floyd Stokes, founder director of the American Literacy Corporation. And we had the 10th annual Writers and Illustrators Summer Camp in July at Hack. And I brought with me a few people, Aubriana, and I have sitting Olivia. She's more support, playing hooky from school. And Dara Brown as well. She's my unofficial bus driver and so much more. She brings about 5 or 6 kids to the camp every year. And I'll let Aubriana take it away and share something about the camp.
So as you know, my name's Aubriana Queshiga. I've been attending Mr. Floyd's camp for 3 years. Each year I look forward to coming back. I have fun having the variety of fun activities, new speakers, community leaders, and different people we get to learn about the opportunities of being a better writer. One of my favorite activities have been reading to animals, and I love seeing you guys each year coming to camp. I would also like to thank Mr. Floyd for giving me the opportunity to become a better writer.
Thank you. I'll pay you later. This mic is not hot, right?
She only wants free illustrations for her first book, Floyd.
All right. The camp is for students 3rd through 8th grade going into the fall of this year. And we introduce students to various forms of writing and art. It's the balance, right, of way of expressing yourself. One of my associates, Jared Pinkney, who has dyslexia before he passed away about 3 years ago, he said he had a problem expressing himself through voice. So he used art to do that. So we all come with different gifts and abilities, and we try to meet students where they are. And so, the camp, we provide a nurturing and supportive environment. And, I'm just grateful for the staff of folks, about 10 to 12 people help put this together that are consistent. But one of the things that we did was we enlisted the support of community. And so we had about 20 people who volunteered to come into the camp, 2 or 3 per day that help, work with the kids individually. And the morning looks more like your typical classroom where they have writing activities that are more structured and art activities. So the goal at the end of the week is to produce something where they have a book cover and then a story to go along with it. And so thank you all for your support of the camp. All 3 commissioners, not only financially, but also giving of your time. As Aubriana mentioned, it's a highlight of the day for the campers to be able to have you all come in, listen to your presentations, and then also ask you all questions. Years ago, a pastor once told me that if you want to raise world-class children, you have to expose them to world-class people. And so leaders like yourself and others in the community come in, pour into these kids. And also we had, Chief Rob Martin, he came in, he just produced another book, released another book, and he read his book. And one of the kids, they asked him a question that almost brought him to tears. And he just really appreciated them. We had another author, Nikita Henderson, and also Ruby helped out. I don't think she realized what she was getting into when she came in. She rolled up her sleeves. I think she thought she was just going to be taking pictures, but she was getting water for the painting activity. I have one of her paintings. She's got skills, but she worked that day. And so we had yoga, kids getting centered, taking their time, meditating. And I've never heard them scream so loudly for doing different activities. I mean, the movements of the yoga, they were like, ah. So, but no, April Viaz, she did a wonderful job with the kids. Like Aubriana mentioned, Katra, um, you know, brought the animals out and, to read to the, so the kids could read to them.
Hmm.
And then we just had other speakers come in. Friday is water day and talent show in the morning. It's about fun. It's about balance. We're post pandemic. Kids need to just get out and play, put their devices down,
Mhm.
and just have a good time with each other, building meaningful relationships with each other. And these are some of the other folks who came in and gave of their time, volunteered half day, full days. And we thank you all again.
Thank you, Floyd. Commissioner Harwood.
Floyd, I mean, you have been doing this work and making such a meaningful impact since I've known you in the Cape. Um, I'm sorry. One of the benefits and detriments of a long-standing respect and relationships is knowing each other in ways that just garner even deeper respect. I mean, your commitment that you have had towards ensuring that everybody, from an educational perspective, was given a playing field in the great equalizer, that your ability to read depends upon your ability to be able to have a trajectory in life. And you knew, based upon your extraordinarily humble beginnings, how valuable that lesson is for parents and children. And this idea of education has been at the forefront of your mission. Like, it's been your mission. And the idea of providing access, trying to address barriers. I don't know how many times, Flo, we've had conversations that we're talking about real barriers and challenges and perspectives that were never easy conversations, but are necessary in order to ensure that we're moving the needle and making sure all kids were represented in Dauphin County. So I want to thank you for wearing a cape and tights when I first met you as Super Reader. I want to thank you even more for your passion, your heart, your dogged determination, your unwillingness to yield in times where you had to be on your toes and you looked behind you and didn't know if you had much support. Thank you for being a good father. Thank you for being a mentor and a community member, good husband, and a good friend. And the ways that you continue to give back are countless. And you never know, as we plant seeds in all of the spaces of our life, even in our weaknesses, how those seeds will grow and what God is intending us to do with our purpose. And you've been a purpose-driven person that has changed a lot of lives and given opportunities and visions for things that may have not been in the pathway or footsteps of people based upon their environment, situation, circumstances. So I want to thank you for all your hard work and for this camp, which I'm proud to support each year. So love you, man.
Thank you.
I don't know how you follow that up, but I'll try to add a few things on. Commissioner Harvard, well done as always. He started off with the cape and the Super Reader outfit. I have seen you in that. By the way, you look really good in that Super Reader outfit. It'd be great in the future if you could include that on the screen here so folks can see what he's talking about. The hack location, let's start there. You moved into the hack location this year, which I thought was awesome. You needed a bigger event, a bigger venue for your event. And Ruby was there, and I got to tease Ruby a little bit because I was asking trivia questions of the kids, and she kept answering them.
Oh,
Asked what the two major sporting events at Hershey Park Arena over the years outside of the Hershey Bears 11 AHL championships. And she raised her hand. I said, kids, what did Wilt Chamberlain do? Scored 100 points. I said, what did Kobe Bryant do? He won his only state championship for Lower Marion Township. So Ruby just couldn't help herself. But the children are the future of this great nation, and the fact that you have given years of your life to the kids, you don't just talk the talk, you walk the walk. You are the real deal, and it is a real pleasure and a privilege to be able to attend these events you put on, not just this event, but the other events you put on throughout the community. Your name is out there. You are a glowing inspiration to the children, and you and your family, your children are super kids, and that goes
Yes,
to their
they are.
parenting that they've had over the years. And you should be very proud of your children and your extended children through what you do as super readers. So thank you very much.
Floyd, I just want to say thank you for your leadership in putting this on. And I know this year it was a quick turnaround on some of it. So thank you for even your expedited leadership in that way, and involving us every year, having us come in and leverage whatever influence we have to inspire, but to bring in so many different community leaders to show these children the opportunities that exist before them. You know what I mean? Obviously, writing and illustrating is inspirational, but I think seeing a model of someone doing something that they're passionate about and that passion rubbing off is something that really can set a kid on a trajectory to invest in their education, to take serious their classwork because they catch a vision for what their future is. And I know you've done that for so many students in the region, not just through literacy, through them being able to read and catch inspiration in that way, but also by being a connector that connects people with passion to these students that are inspiring them. So thank you for that. I also want to recognize the Board of Commissioners has a certificate of outstanding achievement for Abriana. So this is for you, and we will take a picture. Yeah, let's get that picture. Thank you guys so much for being here.
And
Can I
recognize
be in
her
a picture
mother
with
too,
her?
Tabitha Kwashiga, who's in the back of the room, was also an incredible Dauphin County employee as well, and has been, and is a great friend who also recently announced her own book. So we'll give you a little plug. It's one of my favorite son's book. He's always asking, "Where's Pinchy at?" So
Really is. I had to copy and send some pictures to you one time, Joy.
And Floyd, if I may, there
Yeah.
are two other individuals who I see there every year. One is Senator Patty Kim's daughter.
Yes.
And the other's Andrew Loser's daughters. There
Yes.
every year too,
Yes.
volunteering. So you have a
Beautiful
great
people.
crew working with you.
Yes, thank you guys.
good to see you. Great job.
Thank you.
Here's this for you. We'll get a picture with you. Floyd, you gotta get it.
I'm going to take them back to school.
Yes. Since you are now alive through the bidding display,
Do they need a note from us for their absence signed by the commission? I don't know what that carries, but all right. Continuing with our meeting, we'll move on to Salary Board. Cassie Rashinsky.
morning.
The salary board packet is ready for your approval, but the personnel packet has some changes. Item 38 is being removed. And item 97 is being amended to retirement instead of resignation.
So give me those again, Cassie.
38 is being removed.
Okay.
And 97 is being amended to a retirement instead of a resignation.
Do I have a motion for the personnel pack reflecting the changes just shared by?
I think we want to do salary first.
Oh, sorry, my fault. Do I have a motion for salary board for item A with 1 and 2 under?
I believe they're basically, in light of some recent discoveries in some of the IT positions. I have no idea related to the reason for this new position and the creation. I'd like to, if we could, extend this for just 1 week until we're able to ask some questions to be able to table this item. We didn't have a workshop session this week. I think it would be appropriate to table this so we're able to examine it a little bit more thoroughly.
Okay.
Are you amenable to that, Commissioner Priest? Okay. We will table, or let's take a motion to table.
I'll make a motion that we table.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Controller Bateman. Motion made by Commissioner Priest, seconded by Controller Bateman. All in favor?
Check that I did not make the motion.
Sorry, did I say Priest? I meant Hartwick. Sorry, my apologies. Motion made by Commissioner Hartwick, seconded by Controller Bateman. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Table.
Item 57 then is going to have to go on next week's too because that's someone moving into that position.
Okay. So 57 will be pulled from this packet then?
And put on next week's.
So it would be 38, 57, and 97 we're
Mhm.
talking about. And this 97 has been amended.
All right, with those changes, do we have a motion for the personnel packet?
Could you give me just one more second?
Yeah, sure.
please?
Take your time.
I'll make a motion to approve the personnel packet with those 3 items listed.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next up, Budget and Finance Director, Chris Davis.
Morning, Commissioners. I have no changes to the investment report that was sent out earlier this week. There's also no changes to the purchase order packet that's ready for your vote.
Any questions of Mr. Davis on the investment report? Do we have a motion for the purchase order packet?
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Commissioner Hartwick. Did you second that? Seconded by Commissioner Priest. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank
you, Mr. Davis. Chief Clerk's report, Mr. Haggerty.
Good morning, Commissioners. There are several items requiring board action on today's agenda for your consideration. We've got 2 satisfaction pieces, 5 Parks and Rec performer and presenter agreements, 6 items of tax forgiveness or partial refund, 3 public safety renewals, a PCCD grant application, a District Attorney's Office Co-Responder Program MOU amendment, a PREA auditing services contract for the Dauphin County Prison, 4 human services agreements, 5 mental health, autism, and developmental program agreements, 2 children and youth agreements, 3 adoption assistance agreements, 2 drug and alcohol agreements, an engagement letter with Eckert Siemens for continuity of bond counsel services, 1 personnel matter, appointment of Ellen Brown to the Gaming Advisory Board, appointment of Mike Corrado to the Opioid Remediation Board, a resolution addressing the consequences of state budget impasses, 27 opioid remediation grants, and 6 state opioid response agreements. I'd also just quickly like to share how excited we are for this weekend's County Employee Appreciation Night, the Harrisburg Senators game. We're really blessed to have some amazing employees here at the county that are dedicated public servants, and I know work really tirelessly here and really never get enough public credit for the great work they do. So really looking forward to celebrating our great workforce and seeing so many people all in one place at the game this weekend. So that concludes my report, unless there are any questions.
Any questions of Mr. Haggerty? Hearing none, solicitors report. Mr. Owens.
Thank you, Commissioner. All matters requiring board action have been reviewed and approved for action by the Solicitor's Office.
Any questions of Mr. Owens? Hearing none, I believe we have items 1 through 74 on today's packet. Does anything need pulled for a separate? I'll entertain a motion for items 1 through 74.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Hartwick. Do we have a second?
I will second items 1 through 74.
Seconded by Commissioner Priest. Any discussion?
Just to point out the opioid grants that have been brought forward, I see Dr. Eric Pinkney that's present. I see Gerald Dendera in the back. I see a number of the recipients. Potentially, I see Kristen Barner, as well as Jess Kemmer, who is someone who has helped tremendously in providing the support necessary to guide our board through the process of these grants. I believe this year was about $1.9 million in an allocation. I want to thank the board members for their diligence in bringing forward these requests and meeting with Randy this morning, going through some of the requests. I had a couple of questions, and I think there's opportunities to be able to educate the public about some of these new proposals. Because sometimes it's not about them just existing; it's about trying to also provide a level of transparency, openness, communication to the public about ways that they can turn to help, innovative ways that dollars are being spent through the opioid remediation process, and ways that folks can access directly services. So I would just request and respectfully request that we can put together sort of a highlight opportunity in front of the board that would, allow us to talk about everything from communication to accessing innovative ways to, provide housing support, new things. We need to do all we can in order to help with the transition of folks who are challenged, in order to get them to the position that God intended them to be. And I think this gives us a real opportunity to do some innovative work. And I think our committee has done a fine job of sorting through these with the level of support to be able to offer these new opportunities. So I just don't want to miss the chance to highlight those at a future meeting, so we all have an opportunity to figure out the best way where we can plug in and offer people help.
Certainly. I want to direct the chief clerk to just to work with the opioid board to highlight that in a future meeting. Thank you for that, Commissioner Hartwick. Anything else? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And opposed? Motion carries for items 1 through 74. Former business, I see no former business. New business, my colleagues have requested a change to the oversights, and so I am presenting a change to the oversights for the chief clerk. Move on to commissioners' discussion and actions. Commissioner Hartwick.
Yeah, I will not try to take up too much of our time today. One of the pieces to today's agenda has been a coordinated response that came out of our County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania conference that we recently had about not asking, or I should say not telling our state government officials from the legislature to the Senate to the administration and the governor how to do their job, but expressing it very clearly that they need to do their job. The idea of the financial impacts that are happening to counties across this Commonwealth, to school districts that are beginning the process of opening, that are not being funded, and the weight that is placed on counties. I think it was 36 counties last year, and I think potentially 46 counties this year that are facing significant budget shortfalls. For us to be in a position to now have to float significant monies for children and youth operations, drug and alcohol operations, mental health operations, area agency on aging operations, is going to take a significant impact. And I will make it clear that county commissioners are tired of this. who's in charge, who's pointing crossways. We need to figure out a solution, or at least offer up a continuing resolution so county taxpayers are not on the hook for services that the state is mandating us to provide. We are in the past, through these budget deficits, first of all, there have been 12 delayed budgets over the last 25 years. If anybody else was doing that in their job, they would not be rehired. We have a responsibility each year to adopt a budget, a balanced budget at the end of the year. This idea of the disagreements and the concerns, not to get into the details of those, the impacts, however, are great. And the challenges for counties are this. We do such a good job of triaging to make sure that we don't have catastrophe occur. Literally, we can talk about any of these systems and the potential challenges of financial shortfalls, underfunding, and now this current financial situation. And there could be significant loss of lives. No longer is there a safety net. That has been depleted. We are now triaging the most critical cases in many of these categorical agencies. You add to that a significant requirement for the county to front money. And by the way, in all of the recent budget impasses, we've not been reimbursed for the interest, for the borrowing costs, for any of the associated expenses that have been incurred by the county based upon our participation and requirement to be able to fund services. As a part of this look, I know I asked our legal team to take a look at what services are counties legally required to provide. Now, this is a difficult conversation because it's a catch-22. For services like children and youth, which is about a $60 million level of operation in Dauphin County, which are being carried now by Dauphin County taxpayers. Under the third-class county code, it is silent on whether or not we are required to provide children and youth services legally. So we could, in essence, say, state, come in and run this. First of all, they are not equipped or prepared to do so. It would not work well to contract out. And the challenge would be that they would then send county taxpayers a bill for whatever it would cost to perform a below adequate level of service that we currently provide to be able to protect our most valuable resources in children. So these are the kind of difficult challenges that we face. And I will tell you, make no mistake about it, counties are raising property taxes across the Commonwealth because we don't have a partner that is funding the required local government services. They cannot avoid local property taxes just because they're not making the decision to do so. When it is the counties that are going to have to carry this load and continue to provide a level of services to care for our residents while we sit here and again rely on a higher level of government, not to mention the federal cost shift that's happening, which is also going to have a dramatic effect on the very people who we can ill afford to see placed in an even more difficult, challenging situation. So I want to make it clear today, we are issuing a coordinated response across 67 counties. This coordinated response is get the job done. Get this budget complete. Let's figure out a way to operate in a way that we can provide the dignity and level of services that we provide in many cases as a mandated requirement for the state of Pennsylvania. Again, we're not asking you how to do your job. We're just asking you to do your job. So this will be followed up today. We adopted a resolution. We will be sending out a press release, and we will also be sending a letter to our legislative delegation and to the administration and leaderships of both the House and Senate in expressing our challenges and our request to be able to move forward and get this budget done. So thank you.
Commissioner Priest.
Yeah, I'd like to start off by thanking Controller Mary Bateman for her service as the chair of the Dauphin County Prison Board for the last couple of years. Your stability, professionalism, and leadership in that very difficult role was very much appreciated. Secondly, I want to announce that our Parks and Recreation Department is again hosting one of the premier events in the entire East Coast, and that's the annual Jazz and Wine Festival, which will take place at Fort Hunter September 6th and 7th. And lastly, I have a question for our Chief of Staff, Mr. Haggerty. Last year, this board, all three of us, pounded our chests and stated that we were going to RFP everything. To the best of my knowledge, we've only RFP'd one thing, and that was Dauphin County's prisons healthcare, which is going to now cost us millions of dollars more each year. And I'm just asking where we're at in the other RFPs that we promised to do.
Good morning, Commissioner. We intend to brief the board during next Tuesday's executive session about an update on the engineering RFP. I would say that is probably the one that is nearest issuance, of course, conditional upon your approval. And then we are actively in the middle of the healthcare RFP at the moment. Those are probably the two big ticket RFPs for consideration at the moment.
Thank you. I look forward to hearing that.
I just want to say for the CCAP letter, certainly I echo all of Commissioner Hartwick's statements of, without a budget, the cost is still shifted to us and we have nothing to work with. And, in the past, when this impasse would happen, many counties, we talked about this at CCAP, many counties have even taken out loans to cover the cost of these departments, loans that they pay interest on, that the state doesn't cover the interest after the fact. It's cost shifted onto the taxpayer. And I think I'm proud of this board and boards across the Commonwealth who are in a unified effort expressing the need to put partisanship aside and to pass a budget, because the impacts it's going to have on real people in our communities and on our budgets, and that it's already having. And so, that is representative of CCAP. We were there last week. It took place from Sunday to Wednesday. That's County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania. It's a conference that we all have a role in different ways. And I sit on the Justice and Public Safety, or Courts and Corrections, and in that capacity, we're seeing even in that space a lot of cost shifting happening at the national level, and obviously with the lack of a state budget, concerns over what that's going to mean. For example, here's an example. Pennsylvania is one of only 2 states that do not fund public defenders' offices. So last year, the governor presented a certain amount of money for the first time ever to fund public defender's office, but only as grants. We don't know if that money is going to be there this year. As we think about, that'll have a massive impact on our budget, for example. It already has a massive impact because we're one of the only 2 states in the entire nation that don't fund public defenders from the state level. And so things like that, as we think about every department, there's impact. And so we really need the state to make a decision and to pass a budget. On a good note, I want to highlight that LinkedIn ranked Harrisburg number 3 in its top 25 fastest growing U.S. metro areas for jobs and new talent. And I think that's a really good indicator. We're seeing a lot of good economic indicators of our region, especially amid some challenges and downturns in many other metro areas. We're continuing to hold strong. It's not just reflective of Harrisburg, it's Harrisburg and the surrounding area. Certainly Cumberland County is a part of those statistics as well. But I think we should, hold our head high and celebrate this win and keep pushing for more wins. On Saturday, I had the opportunity to run in the Wildwood 5K, which was a really great event put on by our Parks and Rec department. Really, lots of hills out there at Wildwood when you're running a 5K. Was not prepared for that, but it was a good time. Finally, I just want to acknowledge the tragic news of Brandon Flood's passing. I want to acknowledge his impact, especially on individuals post-incarceration. He served on the Pardon and Paroles Board, and for many people, he was a beacon of hope as they came out of incarceration and re-entered, someone who could, walk alongside them and guide them in what it meant to re-enter and even seek things like expungements and pardons. But he was an inspiration to a lot of people, and I think a massive impact in this region. And just want to acknowledge his contribution, and even acknowledge that for many times he encouraged me personally. We had many conversations even long before I ever considered running for local office. When I was a pastor, we had multiple conversations. He did some work with Ceasefire, PA, and so on, some gun violence legislation. We had met, talked multiple times, and so My condolences go out to his family and friends and to the entire community that's still mourning his loss. With that, next on our agenda, we have correspondence that'll be received by the Chief Clerk's Office and disseminated as needed. Public participation. Do we have a list? Did anyone sign up? We'll begin public participation by those who signed up, and then it will be open to the floor. Reminder, we have a 3-minute cap on public participation, and then and we are being live streamed. First up, Antonio Foster, and then we'll open it to the floor. Antonio, how are you?
Antonio Foster, 594 Chambers Street. You already know I'm down here again with the same thing. I mean, nothing new. Last time I came down here, not last week because y'all didn't have a meeting, but the week before that, I spoke on Darmel Thomas. You know, that day he was arrested immediately, I guess, to control the narrative, I would say. I also got a letter from, I got it in my wallet actually, from Penn Live News, you know, asking me about Kevin Dauphin. To tell you the truth, yeah, that's not my concern. My concern is not that's not my job to put drug dealers in jail and chase people down. But here's the letter, and I'm sure you guys control the news, Penn Live, so y'all would. It's under you guys, but anyway, as you were. But my point that I'm saying is it's not my job to put drug dealers in jail. It's not my job to lock Kevin Dolph up. So the letter, but what I spoke about down here was a bunch of things. Fentanyl bodies, I talked about having proof of it. So of all the things I spoke about, I mean, last time I checked, it was like 22 unsolved. Now, my reason for that is because the people involved in that are the same people that's involved in framing me and trying to frame me. So that's something that I have no problem with bringing to the light. That's where my issue comes in at. So, I mean, with you guys controlling the news, wouldn't you think that fentanyl bodies unsolved would be way more important than the drug dealer Kevin Dauphin that I care nothing about? My only issue with him is that he's the person who's a part of framing me because it used his property to do it. That's my only issue with Kevin Dauphin. That's not my job to do that. That is you guys' jobs, and I guess the guys that work under it. But everything that I've spoken about, I haven't been reached, contacted, none of the above. And I mean that's really it. I would like something to be done about that somehow, some type of way. I very much appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Foster. Anyone else for public comment? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Hartwick. Do we have a second? Seconded by Commissioner Priest. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. We adjourn.